I look forward to a very highly dimensional speech here with a lot of depth.
No. Apologize for everybody. I have the 9 o'clock meeting, so I have to run.
Super. Baskin, thank you for your speech. All right. Robert, thank you.
So, I'm going to talk today about 3D programming on the iPhone, iPad. But really what I'm talking about is learning and exploring. And I hope to inspire all of you to go research something, do something new, learn something, and either to recover or to further your love of learning. We're all, for the most part, here in technology because we enjoy it. We learning new things. And one of the things that came out of doing this project, some of the things I did were fairly simple. It's okay, yeah, I've seen that done. And it was pretty neat to be able to do something similar. And then I started saying, oh, I want to do this. And I got it to do this. Well, sometimes it went the wrong way at first. And then it started doing what I wanted. Wow, this is really cool. And it just reminded me how much fun this technology, this industry can be when we're learning and exploring. So with that, I'm going to get into the technical pieces. I will use this part of the board a little bit. So, a couple things. 3D programming these days is based on the OpenGL library. There are two parts of this. There's OpenGL, and then there's OpenGL ES. And the difference is kind of, OpenGL gives you the whole toolkit, everything you might want. OpenGL ES gives you a smaller subset intended to run on mobile devices. It's kind of a lower common denominator. So these are the main libraries that people program for. There are something like 6 versions that we've gone through with OpenGL. With OpenGL ES, there were 3 main versions. 1.0 is no longer used. 1.1 is the current old generation, and 2.0 is the current new generation. And the reason that it's important is 1.0 focuses on what's called a fixed pipeline, where you have the computer prepare changes in the model. 2.0 is actually where it sends programs to the graphics processor, the GPU, which are these really powerful computers inside our computers. So that's OpenGL in a nutshell. Now, math programming, for those of you who don't know and have some familiarity, you pretty much are following standard model view controller pattern. So we have our model. We have our controller. And then we have our view, which is typically going, in the Apple world, is typically going to be some UI kit-based view, which is the tools that Apple gives you. And if you're doing graphics drawing, then you sit on, this is probably small, you sit on this layer called core animation. It's a little closer to the hardware and does better animation. Then, when you get into 3D programming, your view is, your UI kit view is sitting on top of OpenGL. So there are a number of classes involved in this that kind of compose these layers, and you'll see a little bit about this as we look at the code. before we look at the code, I want to tell you how you go about getting to that point. The first thing you need is a model. You need something to look at. And this is where, for me, things got a little bit complicated because I don't know a lot about 3D graphics. And I didn't have a keyboard with me on my laptop here. So this is a program, it's a free available program called Blender. And it is the, unless you've got a couple $1,000s for Autodesk stuff, it is the best option for dealing with 3D models. So here is a model, one that I found on the web that's commonly available. You can see some of these controls. You can, let's see. It's really not designed to, there we go. So you can manipulate it and so forth. And do all kinds of things with it. So once you've played with your model, you can then render an image which writes out a bunch of vertices. I am going to change the game plan a little bit here, since we're short on time, and show you the end result. Once you write out your model, you're then going to bring in this list of vertices. You can put down. And you will then, yeah, that'll probably, I think that will be enough. You will then be able to import that and make use of the model and manipulate it. What I'm going to show here is a couple, this is, not all the controls are here, but this is a model, and I've just put a couple things up here that are changing the rotational position. And that's all being done in real time. So the model is redrawing, and this is typically how you would do some animation. And I'll show you one last piece. This is how the model originally imported. And the thing that I want to do here is I'm going to move it in three positions and then a rotation so that I can get it somewhere where it's more useful to me. And here's our, here we translated it, and then we're going to rotate it. And so all of this comes from using the graphics primitives and letting the computer do the rendering. The fun, this in itself is pretty fun. What gets really interesting then is you start to put color or light sources, and you can see as the model moves, the light source will stay in the same place, reflecting off of the model. Or if you change the viewpoint, the light source will stay in the same place with relation to the model, but your view of it will move. So this is what 3D programming is about, and it is just a probably 8-minute start. And I hope to inspire you to go look into it, play with it, or pick a technology of your choice, learn something new, and enjoy it. Thank you.